The disrespect is not just for the Africans on the continent. The disrespect is for black people around the world. The abuse is not just for Africans on the continent. The abuse is for black people wherever you find us. I'm going to share with you some basic facts. You see, our story is a simple one. Our story is of truth and facts, which are two constants that do not change. And all we need to do is give the world an overdose of our truth and insist on it. As we speak today, I'm going to take you back centuries, long before the children of Africa were taken out of Africa as slaves. There was some serious resistance when the occupiers from the West came to Africa, contrary to what some might think. They didn't just give up their children, but the fighting began long before slavery. And the resistance was those who led them, the majority of them, their heads, as we speak today, are sitting in jars in Europe. Are you aware of that? Our leaders, our ancestors who fought the wars of resistance, their heads, their remains are sitting in jars throughout Europe. And the same people have the audacity to come to Africa and talk to us about human rights. But what's even more disturbing is that we entertain them and we don't remind them of these skeletons in their closet. As we speak today, the priceless artifacts that they stole from all over Africa are sitting in their museums throughout Europe. And when you and I, when we visit Europe, we pay to see what belongs to us. Evidence of theft, evidence of murder on display in plain sight.
In this video, Dr. Arikana shares with us abuse of the black people all around the world and not just in Africa. Most especially countries like Jamaica, black Americans in the United States of America, and also blacks in the Caribbean island at large. She says that heads of leaders who stood up to fight against freedom are being on display in Europe, and also stolen artifacts belonging to Africans are on display in Europe. And when Africans go there to see these artifacts, they are made to pay for it before they are able to see things that belongs to them. Now let's watch the entire video and listen to exactly what the speech was, and we'll come back here and discuss more about it. But before that, if you haven't yet liked this video, kindly like the video and also subscribe to the channel. Let's watch the videos together.
As we speak today, black people are listed as 3/5 of a human being in the US Constitution. As we speak today, the redlining continues. As we speak today, African countries are being made to pay ridiculous interest rates on loans that they should not be paying for. As we speak today, reparations are due. Everybody else has been given reparations, expect us. The question then becomes, what is wrong with this picture? Why aren't you and I standing up and demanding that what is right must be done? I can tell you why. Because no other race would stand for a minute what is being done to us. How long do you think a finger of a British soldier lasts in Zimbabwe? How long do you think a thumb of a German soldier lasts in Namibia? Not even a minute. They would storm in, kill hundreds, if not thousands of people just to recover that one finger. Why is it that we are unable to come together and speak our truth and demand that what needs to be done must be done? It's because they defeated us where it matters the most, which is the mind. It started with the missionaries in Africa long before slavery. They were sent by the Roman Catholic Church to subdue the Africans, make them believe that when you get slapped, turn the other cheek, and that your riches are in heaven. So by the time they followed with the colonizers to reap and rape Africa, we were already brainwashed. We were meant to believe everything African was bad and undesirable, and everything European was better. And the same brainwashing continued as our children were taken out of Africa enslaved. It continued on the plantations, color gradations, light-skinned versus dark-skinned, field workers versus kitchen workers. To this day, we suffer from the legacy of slavery and the legacy of colonization. For how long are we going to continue to suffer from this affliction? For it is singularly the reason why we are not able to come together just like other races and nationalities have done in this melting pot that is the United States of America. When you ask for the voices of the Irish Americans loud and clear, Jewish Americans loud and clear, German Americans, Italian Americans, Chinese Americans, Indian Americans, their voices are loud and clear. But when you ask for the voices of us black people, you might as well go to the graveyard because we are missing in action. We were taught, we were brainwashed into not even loving ourselves as individuals, let alone each other. We were taught not to trust one another. We were taught not to believe that my brother can, my sister can, but somebody else who doesn't look like you and I is better. The question I have for all of you, just close your eyes and think about your children, your grandchildren. Is this the world you want to leave behind for them? If the answer is no, then you need to have a serious conversation with the image in the mirror. Because it is the image in the mirror that must change. It is the image in the mirror that must understand that you are sick from this affliction of the legacy of slavery. You are not sick at home. You are not sick in the doctor's waiting room. You are not sick in the hospital ward. You are sick in the intensive care. How long are we going to continue to support other people's agendas? Those who stood up to fight during the civil rights movement, during the Pan-African days in Africa, civil rights in the United States, they were all silenced. We are emerging out of a period of 20 to 30 years where just nothing is going on. We are all fast asleep. When are we going to wake up? Reverend Al Sharpton is saying, the time to wake up is now. Reparations now. We know all the companies that benefited from slavery. We have their name. We have the list. They must pay. As we speak, many have pledged their contributions. Guess what's going to happen, my brothers and sisters? Because we are not organized, we will never realize those funds. And they will hide behind, oh, they are disorganized. They don't know what they are doing. I am now going to be asking Reverend Al Sharpton to lead us as we demand those reparations. We need to register a global Pan-African fund that can make sure that we have development in black communities where it belongs. Those funds must be organized. Those funds must be paid for. Reparations for black people now. No more shall we continue to be abused. No more shall they continue to exploit our Africa. What is in Africa is our birthright, and we are going home to take it. No more shall we be told Africa is a diseased and dying continent because they are going to Africa in droves and telling you to not go there. So this moment is calling for unity of purpose. And before I leave this platform, I'm going to ask all of you to take a moment. If you love your children, if you love your grandchildren and their future, to have a serious conversation with Image in the Mirror. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. I thank you.
Welcome back. This is a very powerful speech by Dr. Arikana. Now, these are a few of the points that I picked from her speech, and some of them are very shocking. Now, the first of them being that Africans are labeled the 3/5 of human in the US Constitution, and I really yearn to read the Constitution of the United States in order to find this out for myself as to why black people are labeled the 3/5 of a human, that is less than a human. Some of us do not see ourselves, or black people are not less of a human. I don't know why they label us as the 3/5 of a human in the Constitution. I'd like to read it out for myself. Also, on the issue of loans being issued out to African countries, she stated that huge interest rates are being charged when it comes to loans issued to African countries, that is developing countries, countries in the Caribbean, Jamaica, and other countries in the Caribbean. They are issued with high interest because these international bodies like the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, label such countries as higher risk countries. So they charge high interest rates, whereas countries that also receive low interest rates, that is the developed countries, they are given low interest rates. Meanwhile, it is the same quantity of money that both countries are coming for, yet one is charged a higher interest rate, whereas the other is charged a lower interest rate. This is one of the odds that she pointed out. She also stated that we have always been brainwashed by the white people. Now, she said that this started with religion. When Catholic missionaries were sent into Africa in order to spread Christianity and gospel among Africans, they decided to brainwash us before slave trade came into being. Now, they informed Africans at that time, our ancestors, that when you are being slapped on the left cheek, you need to turn the right cheek for them to slap you there again, because your reward is in heaven. This was the example that she used in her explanation. I think this can be found in the Bible or something like that. She also stated that Africans are made to think inferior of themselves, whereas they see Europeans or people of the West or the white man to be superior. So everything about the black man, he thinks or knows or that it is inferior. He thinks that it is inferior, whereas everything about the white man, the black man sees that to be superior and desirable. This is the kind of level of brainwashing that has been meted out to the African. So that is what Dr. Arikana says. On the issue of stolen artifacts, she says that artifacts belonging to our ancestors were stolen by these Europeans, and they are on display in museums in Europe. And when you go there as an African to take a look at it, they need to charge you money before you go and see your own artifact that has been stolen away from you. Isn't this ironic? Isn't this paradoxical? Also, I would even want to cite an example. Now, I am from the country of Ghana, and there is this great kingdom that used to exist, that is the Ashanti Kingdom, ruled by the king currently, Otumfuo Osei Tutu. Now, they were commemorating an event where some of these artifacts were being flown in from Europe to Ghana for them to use for the commemoration of the event and display the artifacts to the current chiefs and kings in the kingdom presently, for them to have a look at the artifacts that was stolen from their ancestors years ago. They are just to take a look at it. It is sent like a loan to them for them to take a look at it and then return them back to the British Museum to be kept over there. Things that were stolen from our ancestors are being brought back to us for us to just take a glimpse of it and then return it back to them. This is the level of, should I say, inferiority that we think of ourselves and superiority that we give to the white man. She also stated that heads of leaders who stood up to fight for freedom, they have their heads on display in jars all across Europe. And this is very true in the sense that if you visit the scientific laboratories of these white people, they really have parts of Africans or black people in jars that they study. Meanwhile, they don't keep their parts for them to be studied, but our parts are meant to be kept and studied. Now, heads of these leaders are being kept over there. Meanwhile, if a British soldier should lose just a finger in any of the African countries, they will storm that particular country and kill hundreds of people, if not thousands. Exactly what she says over there. So she says that it is time for Africans to receive reparations. Now, this is a call that CARICOM has been championing for a while now. I have personally heard Dr. Mia Montley, who is the Prime Minister for Barbados, who has also spoke on reparations to be paid to the CARICOM. And Dr. Arikana has also added her voice to it that indeed reparations need to be paid to affected black communities. That is their view on it. Personally, I think even if it is not paid, what we need to do is to protect our resources that are left. What has been taken cannot be recruited back or recouped back. So we need to forge forward and protect what is left. And the time to do that is not later. The time to do that is now. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions on this in the comment section below. Don't forget to share this video to your friends and your family. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Just look at the subscribe button down here. Click on the subscribe button. Click as well on the notification bell. And I'd like to see you again in my next video.